Barrow King, The Realms Book 1, an epic LitRPG adventure. Written by C.M. Carney. Narrated by Armen Taylor. Two. Finn's mind found solace in the menial task of emptying the bar's dishwasher. The gentle hum, the sluice of warm water, and the waves of steam rising from the spinning contraption was a salve to his nerves. He was so lost in this rare moment of calm, he didn't hear Doc. "Earth to John. Hello, John." Finn looked up and gave the haggard man an embarrassed grin. He still wasn't used to being John. His training and experience usually made slipping into an alter ego as simple as pulling on a pair of socks. It troubled him that this time was different. "Sorry, Doc. Didn't sleep so well last night." "Yeah, you look like shit, buddy," Doc said with a grin and a heft of his empty pint glass. Finn grabbed it, held it up to the spout, and flipped the tap open. Amber liquid flowed into the glass. "Got a lady friend keeping you up all night?" Finn chuckled. He liked Doc. He was a kindred spirit, a man who'd screwed his life up as much as Finn had. Yet, as he set the fresh pint in front of the older man, Finn couldn't help wishing that his demon was as simple as alcoholism. "No such luck, Doc. The ladies aren't scrambling to get with lowly bartenders." "Stop playing coy. I may be a drunk, but I'm no idiot. You've got many a hidden depth to you." Panic rose in Finn as he eyed Doc. The man had been a McHenry's regular years before Finn bought the place, so the likelihood of him being a plant were slim to none. Yet professional paranoia had helped Finn live this long. "Don't be so uptight, lad. A man is entitled to his secrets, especially in this world. I have a few dark ones I keep to myself, too." Doc raised his pint in a knowing salute before taking a sip. "But you don't," Finn thought. Doc's once-a-week ritual, fueled by guilt and alcohol, was to regale Finn with the tale of his downfall. The man had once been a brilliant surgeon, but alcohol had seeped into his soul and a mother had died on his table. Doc didn't even fight the inquiry. He'd forfeited his medical license the very next day. Now, he spent his days at Finn's bar, watching soccer and trying to drown his demons. Finn started cutting fruit for the day. "Can I, turn on the news?" Doc asked. Finn nodded. He had long ago given Doc access to the large hollow viz behind the bar. It popped to life and CNN came on. "This is Snapper Carr, reporting from outside Sacrosanct Integrative Technologies," a young man with a winning smile said. A crowd of angry protesters gathered in front of the stunning modern skyscraper. "Today, after a successful 6-month beta test, The Realms was set to go public. The world's first neuro-integrated massive multiplayer online role-playing game has wowed critics and beta players alike. Industry experts expected it to be a multi-billion-dollar moneymaker for Sacrosanct founder and CEO Alistair Bouchard." "I never understood these games," Doc said. "Never been my thing either," Finn said. "But I get it. Who doesn't want an escape from the drudgery and pain of the real world?" Doc nodded and hoisted his beer in salute. Screams of anger and pain brought his attention back to the newscast. The crowd pushed forward against the wall of riot cops as rocks flew over the shield wall. An improvised Molotov cocktail exploded against the building. The cops pushed into the crowd, riot shields smashing and advancing. "Jesus," Doc said, drawing Finn's eye to the holoviz. "It's just a game, isn't it?" Doc asked, stunned. Things have become violent here, Snapper Carr said, ducking as a rock whizzed a bit too close to his head. All because this morning, instead of opening the realms to the public, Sacrosanct cut off all access. A short press release from Sacrosanct blamed the shutdown on a temporary glitch, but rumors swirling on the gaming forums claim that access to the game has been blocked, perhaps permanently. The Sacrosanct leadership has been silent, unseen since the beta launch, giving some credence to the rumor. The question on many lips: what is Alistair Bashard hiding? The world is going to shit, Doc said. It's always been shit, Doc. True that. Doc switched the channel to a soccer game. The calm voice of the announcer melded with the task of cutting fruit, lulling Finn's mind. His repetitive deftness with the knife eased the task into a meditative state. Once more, he pushed the world away. He didn't look up when he heard the door open or the scrape of a stool, but he sensed the man sit in front of him. There was a whole bar. Why did people always have to invade this one small haven? "Hello, Finn," a familiar voice said through a haze of pain. Finn gripped the knife harder, awareness surging to the fore. "Easy, buddy. I'm just here to deliver a message." Finn's training took over, and his eyes eased up. A haggard face surrounded the controlled smile of a man whose every aura suggested competence and ability. He was pale and hunched in pain. One hand hidden by the bar, Finn stared, eyes filled with demand. "Lex, is he transmitting?" Finn silently asked his banner, the semi-sentient artificial intelligence that shared his mind. Sometimes Finn was amazed at how quickly the public had become used to the idea of banner technology. Essentially, banners were seriously advanced personal assistants akin to Siri or Alexa from decades before. But unlike those technologies, banners melded with the user's nervous system. The old internet had been ill-equipped to handle that level of bandwidth and had led to the invention of the lattice, an ever-present field of information. "Nope, no electric signals of any kind. In fact, I'd say he's put his banner into standby. He is not connected to the lattice," Lex responded. Finn wondered why Lex was more alive than his old army-issued banner. "Let me know if that changes." "Righto." "My banner is offline and I'm not recording or transmitting, but you already knew that." "Dalton," Finn said, his grip tensing up on the knife. The gesture was pointless. If Dalton wanted him dead, he would be. This was something else. "How did you find me?" "I'm just that good, kiddo." A subtle shift in Finn's eyes caused Dalton to lean back with a grunt of pain. The older man nodded and put both hands face up on the bar, showing Finn he meant no harm. It was a classic technique, and Finn knew he couldn't trust it. "Don't worry, I'm the only one who knows. I'm not here in an official capacity." Finn's eyes widened in shock when he saw the blood covering the man's hands. A hurried and clinical examination told Finn that Dalton was in bad shape. Finn rushed around the bar and caught his old mentor as the man slipped from the bar stool. "Doc!" Finn said in an urgent tone. Despite the alcohol fuzzing his mind, old training jumped to the fore of Doc's mind. He leapt from his stool, helping Finn. They eased Dalton onto the ragged couch near the pool table. Doc knelt and pulled Dalton's jacket aside, revealing a large wound in the man's side. "Gunshot," Doc said. "At least 2. 3, Dalton bragged with humor before a coughing fit pulsed bloody foam from his mouth. "Lex, lock the front door and activate the close sign, and keep an eye on the external sensors. We may soon have company." "Sure thing, bud." "Who shot you, Dalton?" Not the right question, Dalton said with a wry smile. Finn flashed back to a time years ago when Finn was a newbie and Dalton assigned as his mentor. A day Finn now marked as the first step on the road that had led to his ruin. He was recruited the day after his discharge from the army, when Finn's world was full of anger and regret. The discharge was classified as top secret. The army wanted no details of the botched op getting out. Public sentiment against the war was already critical. The exposure of a massacre would have tipped the scales. To this day, Finn did not know how his last employers had known who he was, known he was available, known he was willing, and that he burned for the chance to make amends. Forcing the memory back into the dark recesses of his mind, Finn asked the correct question. Why are you here then? Can't an old friend pop in and say hi? Dalton said with a grin, pleased that Finn knew the right question. We're not friends. That's where you're wrong, pal. I may be the only friend you have left, Dalton said, his grin buried under another fit of bloody coughing. Do you have a med kit? Doc asked. Under the bar, Finn indicated with a nod of his head. Doc retrieved the kit and motioned for Finn to ease the wounded man back on the couch. Grab me that knife, Doc said. And your best whiskey. Dalton smiled through gritted teeth. Finn grabbed both. Doc snatched the knife and sliced Dalton's shirt up the middle. The wounded man took a swig from the bottle Finn handed him. Doc opened the med kit and got to work on Dalton. I have a message. I'm not interested. Oh, you are. You just don't know it yet. He set the bottle onto the side table with a thump. He wiped an errant drop of whiskey from his lips, smearing a crimson streak across his face that gave him the visage of an insane clown. May I? Dalton asked, his hand hovering over the pocket to his jacket. After a moment of locked eyes, Finn nodded. Dalton removed something from his jacket pocket. He extended his hand to Finn. A pulse drive rested on his palm. I'm not going back, Dalton. It's not from Central. Who then? Bryn. Finn's eyes went wide, and his hand snapped around the pulse drive. Bryn, he said, without realizing he had spoken. He pulled his hand back and eased the drive into his pocket like a mother handling a newborn, all fear and gentleness. Finn's mind flashed to the last time he'd seen his sister, misty-eyed under the black umbrella as their father's coffin was lowered into the ground. Bryn, always so kind, so sweet, and so brave. Alone in the world. Perhaps that is why he allowed her to see him. A moment of weakness, a moment of kindness. The guns were still echoing as Bryn excused herself from the small crowd, feigning a desire to be alone. She found Finn sitting on a bench. I knew you were still alive, she said, tears welling in her eyes. Why did you leave? I had no choice. There's always a choice, Finn. Tell that to the Colonel, Finn said, idly rubbing a spot on his chest, a spot marred by scar tissue. Bryn held back a sob and took a small box from her purse. She handed it to Finn. What's this? Something to help you remember. Something to help you not be alone. With that, she had pecked him on the cheek, stood, and walked away. Finn's mind came back to the present. He pulled the pulse drive from his pocket, and fear ate at his guts, twisting it harder than the worst bar-rot scotch. What could scare Bryn enough for her to enlist Dalton's aid? How did they even know each other? Old training, deeply ingrained in his mind, took control. His mind analyzed the available data, and one conclusion jumped to the fore. The Colonel, Finn thought. He was still mucking up his children's lives, even from the grave. "John," Doc said with controlled alarm, "we need to get him to a hospital." Finn pulled himself from his thoughts and looked to Doc. The old surgeon's eyes told Finn all he needed to know. Dalton didn't have long. "It's okay, kid. I always knew it would end up this way," Dalton said. "But maybe this'll help wipe some of my ledger clean." "Boss, we have company," Lex chimed in his mind. 4 men, 2 teams of 2, back and front, heavily armed. Finn's eyes hazed as he accepted the feed from Lex. 2 men, armed with silenced automatic rifles, took up positions on each side of the front door. A quick check told him there were 2 more at the back door. "We've got company. 4 total. 2 at the front, 2 at the back." "Shit, I thought I'd ditched them," Dalton grimaced as he attempted to rise. Finn told Lex to dim the lights, then rushed to the bar and grabbed a hidden pistol. He returned to Dalton and Doc. "Doc, take this and lock yourself in the bathroom. Don't come out until I tell you it's okay." He palmed the pulse drive into Doc's hand. "What if you don't tell me it's okay?" Finn shrugged. And, with a resigned nod, Doc rushed to the bathroom. Finn turned to Dalton. "You armed?" Dalton pulled the pistol from his jacket and checked the magazine and safety. "Help me up." Finn eased Dalton to his feet. The man grunted in pain, but the old bastard was tough. Finn helped position Dalton behind the bar, where he'd have some measure of protection. Finn then rushed to the gap between 2 antiquated stand-up video game consoles. He noted with a sense of irony that one involved shooting ducks with an orange plastic rifle. "Hopefully, we won't be the ducks," Finn thought.